TikTok hates happily married women, masculine men, and families. Meet Griselda, a full-time worker and also a devoted wife, who recently posted a video on her TikTok that was captioned, "What I cook for my husband after my 9 to 5." That video was very popular. The video that she posted got over 5 million views, and it appeared that it was a hit, but for all the wrong reasons. Instead of the chicks in the comment congratulating her, showing appreciation to a woman doing something nice for her husband, she faced a barrage of hate, especially from other women. Why? Well, because she was doing something nice for her husband. She was cooking for her husband. And this might sound crazy, but this is something that you can't do on TikTok as a wife without facing extreme backlash.
I have pissed the internet off, specifically the women. The women are very triggered. So recently I've been posting some videos of me cooking for myself and my husband after my full-time job. And the comments under that video are diabolical.
I want you to take a look at some of these miserable comments. This chick says, "It's called free labor, a domestic slave. I'm not even sure what, I think she meant why you're not embarrassed posting this. Telling people how low your self-esteem is, get a divorce, watch Sharia 7 and start implementing." Listen, get a divorce is this woman's suggestion to this happily married wife. And also encouraging a wife to go listen to Sharia 7 is also diabolical. Another miserable chick here says, "Cold, overworked, and underpaid." So she's telling her she's being overworked for cooking after work when she really doesn't have to. Mind you, this comment right here has 41K likes. 41,000 women agree with this post. Here's somebody else who says, "I call it a sucker." So the wife Griselda explains it's her choice. She cooks about 75% of the week because she loves her husband and gets home before him. It's an act of love and selflessness, not oppression.
First of all, I didn't know it was a crime to cook for someone you love in 2024. Didn't know that. Secondly, this is a choice. I cook if I want and I don't if I don't want to. My husband doesn't make me or require me to do anything. I'm not some abused and oppressed woman. I care enough about my husband to think, you know what? He probably is hungry and would like to eat when he gets home.
Right.
I'm selfless enough to sacrifice a little bit of my time and energy for someone that I love. Some of y'all's comments are just really rude and really mean. Like when I posted that video or just posting on social media, like in general, you will get negative comments. But when y'all are calling me out my name, and that's when it's kind of like, okay, you have bigger problems than the problem that you think that I have.
And guys, quick side note, if you're dealing with a chick right now and she believes cooking for you is oppression, then just run away, bro. Fast, not slow. And if you thought that was an isolated incident, meet Ra, another TikToker who is also a happily married woman who's suffering at the hands of bitter women on TikTok. She posted a video specifically for women who like their husbands. She said in the video, this video is for women who like their husband. Almost like she knew to filter out the bitter women on TikTok because there's just so many of them. She went on to jokingly suggest that if you didn't like your husband, you could keep scrolling.
This is for the girls that actually like their husbands. If you don't really like your husband, just keep going. Studies have shown that men's favorite scents are actually pumpkin pie and vanilla.
So then she goes on to talk about some girl shit, you know. But what followed next were comments that were so bitter from other women who were commenting about how much they don't like their husbands, that she actually made a separate video responding back to a particular comment that read, "Wait, people like their husbands?"
I will never understand how people think this is a flex. The number of people commenting on my video and saying the way I scrolled so fast. And this is not like the man versus bear debate. This is the man that you stood in front of your friends, your family, God, and said, yeah, that's my number one. That's my guy. How is that not your best friend, your ace? I don't get it. This is the weirdest socially acceptable joke that people make. It's such like a boomer thing. And it is so weird to me. Like, my husband is literally my best friend. He's my favorite person. I can't wait for him to come home today so that we can hang out and like go do something together with our baby. And I can't wait to have 5 billion more babies with him. Like, I don't get it. Does anybody else absolutely love, adore, and is obsessed with their husband? Or is it just me? And no, this obviously doesn't apply if you're in some sort of terrible, messed up situation. This is your normal, average marriage.
Unfortunately, if you are a woman who loves, appreciates, respects your husband, and truly do value him, and TikTok is the wrong place for you to share that, because you just get attacked. It's just what we see over and over again. And we've seen this exact same thing. Wives who show appreciation to their husbands get slammed and catch backlash so many times. I've actually covered a lot of these topics. There was the surgeon wife who went viral for willingly cooking for her husband after a 13-hour shift. People were really upset about that and wanted clarification whether she was cooking while he was kicking his feet up and watching her cook.
I just got home from a 24-hour shift, and so many people have sent me my video that has made it to Twitter and it has made it to Instagram. It's my husband at home sitting on the couch watching me slave away while he did absolutely nothing. Yes.
And then there was another wife serving her man food who went viral because the sight of seeing a woman serve her man is so rare today that she built a whole following of men just based off that. Going to the stove, making his plate, and then walking over a few steps and handing it to him. The men were enamored. And then another wife who prepared food for her husband and his friends triggered a bunch of bitter women, and she happened to go viral as well for all the wrong reasons. I'll be honest, nothing to me is more confusing than seeing women who are married triggered by other wives catering to their husbands. That doesn't make sense to me. And it's not that they only dislike seeing wives do nice things for their husbands. They also refuse to believe that there is such thing as a happily married couple. There are a bunch of women out here who just don't believe it exists. Here's a video from another wife that's captioned, "Healthy and happy marriages do exist in the Black community." Check it out.
I said it before, I'll say it again. There's a lot of miserable women out here. I don't know why y'all find it so hard to believe that a woman, a Black woman, could be with a Black man, married, and actually be happy. Y'all love to be shady and throw shade because you're so miserable. You've not experienced a happy relationship. You haven't experienced a good Black man. So you can't even believe that I could really be happy. You can't believe that she could really be happy. You can believe that she can really be happy with her Black husband and her beautiful Black family.
Right.
Y'all love to throw quotations, because she thinks she better because she in her fake happy relationship and her fake happy home. Why does it have to be fake?
A part of me thinks that the reason why the chicks probably hate, maybe it's like seeing something that you wish you had, right? If you see a woman treating her husband very, very well, you think to yourself, well, there's probably a reason she does that. The man probably treats her well. This is not a one-way thing. She's reciprocating the type of love, care, compassion that she receives from the husband who she's with. At the end of the day, if these chicks are single, they're probably jealous. And if they think they deserve something that they really don't, which is a better man who makes more money, who's whatever, probably doesn't exist, then they'll probably be bitter and jealous as well. What do you guys think? Comment down below.
It's so sad, and it makes you should realize, it makes me realize, shall I say, that's how miserable and bitter people are when they can't even see good for other people. You can't believe it. You can't fathom that I can really be happy. When I say I'm happy, I really am. You can't believe that. But that's a you problem. And we got to stop projecting. We got to stop hating on the next woman, praying on her downfall.
Realizing that there are potentially hundreds of thousands of married women on TikTok who love sharing how much they can't stand their husbands makes you wonder what their husbands did or didn't do to result in their negative mindset. What I've found from watching a lot of women express why they dislike the marriages they're in is that in many cases, a lot of them just simply aren't happy. Happiness is a complicated thing to solve for yourself. But when it comes to being responsible for someone else's happiness, figuring that out is nearly impossible. Here's what the host of the Happy Wife podcast has to say about being responsible for the happiness of your significant other, specifically a wife.
So your wife being unhappy is her having an unhealthy relationship with herself. When you think of it in that context, there's nothing you can do to help her have a healthy relationship with herself. That's her responsibility. And it was her doing that she has an unhealthy relationship with herself. So you have to retire from thinking there's something you can do to make your wife happy. You still be a good man because that's who you are and what makes you feel good about yourself. But again, not from a place of thinking it's going to make her happy. She has to make herself happy, period. That's what we all have to do as humans. We have no ability to make another happy. Now, I often say with a good man, if we're happy as women, life is good, because a good man's nature is feeling good and confident in himself and trusting in life and being a problem solver, therein having a healthy relationship with himself and life. So if we're happy in ourselves, that solves a good man's biggest problem in his marriage, which is his wife being unhappy in herself. So it's so much simpler for us as women to take responsibility for our happiness. And a good man, like I said earlier, will just be right there waiting for us in the nature of who he is as a good man. So thanks for the question.
If two people genuinely care about each other, those two people in a relationship will go out of their way to be kind and respectful to their significant other. That's not the point, right? This is not about, well, should he not be nice or kind to his wife or vice versa. The point is, happiness is an emotion and no one else is responsible for your feelings but you. But with all these unhappy married women begs the question, why don't they just leave? Why don't they just divorce their husbands? Now, I'm not suggesting that they divorce their husbands, but I'm curious why they haven't. An article by Married Agenda with the headline, "Married Women Who Win the Lottery Are Far More Likely to Ditch Their Husbands," might provide some insight. The article states that married women who win the lottery are almost twice as likely to divorce their husbands compared to men who win. While male winners see increased marriage rates and reduced divorce risks, the wealth boost accelerates exit and divorce intentions for women. Why? Well, divorce is expensive. I don't think it's unlikely married women on TikTok are simply discouraged from divorcing their husbands because of the expense some of them would probably occur due to the decision to divorce. The data is very clear that more and more women are breadwinners within a home, right? You've got the chicks that married and claim that they could do anything a man can, but they're upset that they pay all the bills. And then you have the bitter women who are probably just mad that they hit the wall, right? They know that going back into the dating market will be a disaster. Regardless, something tells me that if those bitter wives who openly shame their husbands happen to win the lottery, they would probably most likely divorce their poor husbands and break up their families. And that is exactly what a woman by the name of Anise Rosie did, except things didn't really work out in her favor and she had to drink some coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Denise Rosie's life turned unexpectedly when she won $1.3 million in a U.S. lottery game. Just 11 days after her windfall, Denise initiated divorce proceedings with her husband, Thomas Rosie, ending their 25-year marriage. So you're a guy, you're married, boom, all of a sudden your wife wants to divorce you. You're wondering why. So the reason for the sudden divorce soon became the crux of a bitter legal battle. Denise had concealed her lottery winnings from Thomas. Years after their divorce was finalized, Thomas discovered her hidden fortune. Now here's where the coffee was served. The court ruled that Denise's failure to disclose her lottery prize violated asset disclosure laws and fraudulent conduct. As a result, she was ordered to relinquish the entire $1.3 million to her ex-husband in structured installments.
I forget the state it was, but a woman had won the lottery.
Right.
She didn't tell her husband and she divorced him because she didn't want to give him half.
You could do that?
No, the husband found out. The judge made her give it all to him.
What?
That's why, hey, man, look, you and I done been through situations with that child support and they asked for discovery. Here you go. This is what I make. This is how much I got saved. This is what I got stocks and bonds. This is what I have such as no, sir. Your Honor, this is what we discovered. Mr. Sharp held back $3 million. Oh no. Man, they light your butt up.
Hey, listen, that's one of the reasons I'm thankful. I'm thankful for those that I have kids from. I ain't really have to deal with that.
Had Denise been transparent about her winnings, she might have retained a portion of the prize. Instead, her secrecy led to a court ruling decisively in favor of Thomas. The case serves as a stark reminder of the importance of honesty and transparency, particularly in the complex terrain of divorce proceedings. Speaking of honesty, how much would you like to bet that a lot of these married women who secretly spend time online talking about how much they dislike their marriage and their husbands in particular are married to men who have no idea that they're online talking shit. This TikToker's husband finally found out about her TikTok, where she shares private information about how she regrets getting married, how she's unhappy in her marriage, and how much she's lost. And her husband found out and, of course, was furious. And what do you think that she did next? She grabbed her phone, went on her camera, pressed record, and told the internet everything.
Back in the closet again, where it all started. So everything has been super awkward in my household since my husband found out about my TikTok account. And if you're new here, I started this account 6 or 7 months ago, made some videos about my marriage and how frustrated I was with it. And like a dummy, I told my husband about it. It felt like he had a right to know. Anyway, he blew up, got really mad, and now everything in the house is really super awkward. I guess the good thing about it all is that we ended up having a conversation that was not great, but the resolution was that we're not going to be married anymore. We're trying to work out the details of that, but this is a space and time where it's hard to talk. There's actually a lot of silence going on. Everybody feels uncomfortable. Everybody feels weird, and we can't really have any conversation about how to move forward at this point. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of emotions, all of that. So what I'm discovering is how much silence there really is between us and how there really isn't much to say. We can't talk it out anymore. The time for talking is kind of over.
He went on your TikTok. He saw all your posts hating on him and complaining, probably very, very, very ungrateful in real life, along with the thousands, hundreds of thousands of bitter women there cheering you on and congratulating. Did you expect anything less?
But we still do have to talk to try to work out what we're going to do next. And we're not really ready. We're not in a space to do that right now because everything is really raw. Everything is really raw right now. It's raw. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. So what I'm trying to do moving forward is just move with discernment and quiet. And it's funny too, because for the longest time in my relationship, I felt like I didn't have a voice.
All right, we're not about to listen to this. I do think it's interesting. She's talking about moving with discernment and quiet, but you're posting everything on TikTok. Somebody please make it make sense. TikTok has become home base for bitter women who hate happily married women, masculine men, and happy families. It's also a space specifically for disgruntled wives to encourage one another to divorce their hardworking husbands. A place where accountability and coffee is almost non-existent if it weren't for the few wives who actually drink coffee and appreciate masculine, solid men. Listen, it's one thing if your stance on marriage and family is that it's not for me and you're not going to get married, fair. It's another thing if your goal in life is to encourage other women and men to break up their families for the sake of happiness. Personally, I believe I'm blessed that I know a lot of happy married couples. I do think that most people who are in healthy relationships really try to protect their relationship by not being full on out with it. And that may be part of the reason a lot of people don't see a lot of it. And naturally, the loudest people are usually people who are the most upset and the most pain. And that's how that goes. And sometimes even here in the comment section down below on the Coffee Pod. Listen, as always, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.